Hey, everybody. I was going to be working on a project and I thought, hey, why don't I see if anybody else wants to join me in this? So I decided that I was going to compile a list of movies that one should see. Now, I have this book. It's right here, 1001 movies you must see before you die. There's different versions of this, different volumes of this. There's ones that are specifically for um, for like horror movies or romance movies or comedy movies, but this one's just a general list. Some of them have more movies in them, and I thought it would be nice to go through and actually mark which ones that I have not seen, and the ones that I have seen, I can put them off the list. So I decided that instead of just me watching a bunch of movies and then checking them off the list, I was thinking maybe I could start kind of reviewing them or going over them or having others join me in watching them. So the first thing is I want to call this show No Notes. And that stems from performances or writing or stories or scripts that are just perfect. No notes. I often just say this when I like something. 10 out of 10, no notes. So definitely, this is not something that I want to get into deep dive into film production or the use of cinematic techniques or how actors are subtly using this look or blocking to get a certain reaction. Not talking about storylines or story developments. This is really mostly about watching movies, especially ones that I have not seen. Uh, for example, I have not seen Casablanca. I know. I've not seen Citizen Kane. I have not seen The Godfather. I haven't even seen recent movies like Moonlight or Interstellar. So I want to put those on the list and actually go through them and make myself watch them. And I was thinking, if this is something that is interesting, that I would like to start kind of sharing. Maybe do some sort of review or go over some things that I really liked about the movie. Maybe talk about what type of movie it is. I'm not a film student, not a producer, I'm not a critic, not a writer. This is just for me to watch movies and hopefully have others share in watching these movies with me, even if you've seen them before. So I have the list. So I copied and pasted a list off of the internet. It had some of the movies that were in that 1001 movies you should see before you die. There was a lot of additional ones. It actually came out to over 1,200 movies. And I plan to actually add more to that list as I go. Even if they're ones that I've seen before, some people just need to add on this list. I will link that in this video, in other videos, so you can progress with me and see which ones I do, which ones I've already watched. So the list itself. So it starts from the early 1900s, and this particular list goes into 2020. Obviously, there's more movies that I have to see beyond that, but like I said, I'll add more. So This list starts in basically in chronological order. I'm not going to be watching them in order. There's a few reasons for that. One of the reasons is that some of the movies, especially some of the early movies, silent movies, especially foreign silent movies, especially, are very hard to find. Some of them have gotten destroyed. Some of them are in archives in some library in Munich or somewhere. So I can't watch them in order. Um, Another reason is because it's more fun to sort of like go through and see the progression of movies a lot faster than just starting with the silent movies and moving on to black and white and then moving on to color and then moving on to our heavily CGI'd movies. It's just I think moving around and being able to experience movies like that is a bit different. The list itself, even though it's in chronological order, the years may not line up exactly to when the movie was made or initially released. There's reasons. Sometimes some of these movies release the next year in the United States, or they started off in film film festivals, and then it takes a little while to build up to a national release. Some of them, I've read stories on that some of them like had production one year and had to not be released for several years based on like who was in charge of that country. So I think those are the very interesting stories. Now, some of these movies are legitimate propaganda movies. They were filmed specifically for propaganda. Some very, very clear examples of that is Triumph of the Will, which is a pro-Hitler, pro-Nazi movie, blatant propaganda. There's also famously, especially one of the early films, Birth of a Nation, which is clear KKK South propaganda. These are not going to be discussed. There will be no video discussion, audio discussion, live discussion. I will not be discussing these. I will watch them only as an understanding of what propaganda films were, what makes them propaganda, and that a deep understanding of how propaganda films hurt people. So, yes, I want to watch them, but only from a standpoint of knowledge and understanding. Other than that, I will not be discussing them. There are other problematic movies on this list, and the problems are in many forms. One is the legitimate content of these films, and particularly films like that contain representations of blackface. One of the most famous movies was the first ever commercial sound movie, The Jazz Singer, which contains blackface. There are other movies like I think it's either Top Hat or Swing Time or both of them that also contain blackface in them. I acknowledge that blackface is very harmful and it is not a real representation of people who actually have black faces. It is a entertainment that was used against people in spaces that they couldn't even perform in. So I acknowledge blackface is wrong. Again, this is mostly just for an understanding of the movies. There are problematic directors out there. Roman Polanski is one of them. Can't even be in the United States because of what he did. Directors like Woody Allen. um, has had many issues upon him. There are many other directors like that. There are also problematic actors. Blaring one, Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey is in a lot of great movies. His movies on this list are immense. I've seen most of them. I acknowledge that he is a terrible person, but the movies are themselves not. And I'm not acknowledging him as a terrible person. So there are problematic actors, directors, content that I will acknowledge that these are problematic. Um, the genre descriptions, I want to be more detailed in my descriptions, such as it's not just a comedy, it's slapstick, it's dramedy, it's a road comedy, coming of age dramas, sports dramas. Like I'm going to try to actually describe them a little bit better. I just kind of wanted to get the description in there so that I had something to go off of first. Um, there are actually some movies that I will not watch again. For a couple different reasons. The first one, I will flat out say I'm not watching Memento, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the movie itself. It's a great movie. Guy Pearce is amazing. It's a Christopher Nolan movie, so it's really good. The only problem that I have with it is that I watched it. My brother rented it and from the video store back when we had rental video stores, and I decided I'd watch it. And about approximately halfway through the movie, I had to turn it off because I got sick. A little nauseous from it. I came back. I watched a little bit more, and I had to stop it so that I wouldn't get sick again. And I did spend about the last 20 minutes of the movie standing up and watching it because I couldn't handle sitting down and watching it, because it is one of those movies that it's very twisty and side to side, and trying to figure out the where you are in the plot just sort of made me dizzy. It's a great movie. I highly recommend it. I just can't do it anymore. Other movie that I won't watch for a completely different reason is I watched Gravity in the theaters, and I did not like it. I just felt it was what I call Murphy's Law in space, where it was just like, it was really predictable and it was fairly boring. It was well shot. The director won Best Director that year for that movie. It was because it was a great directed movie, but when it came to the actual plot, it didn't do it for me. So those are just movies I won't watch. There's a few other ones that I just don't need to watch again. A movie like Crash, I don't really need to watch it. Maybe, but it's not going to be my priority. There are some movies that I watch regularly. I watch Lord of the Rings probably about 3 times a year because I absolutely, the extended version, I love it. It's a great movie. It's well shot. It's a great trilogy. The acting is great. The kind of the visual effects, kind of before CGI was a major part of movies. It was great. I watch Star Wars, the original trilogy, all the time. I don't really need to watch it as part of this. I might discuss it as part of a series, or I might watch it as part of a group of maybe the, like, 1977 had a few popular sort of these sci-fi epic dramas. that might be good as a group together, but it's not really one that I need to see because I see it regularly. Um, and there's like movies like It's a Wonderful Life or Christmas Story that are just Christmas classics that I already watch. So again, I don't really need to. They don't need to be on the top of my list. But if there's movies that connect to each other, I may make that part of like a series. So, one of the best examples that I can think of is um, the first movie on my list, A Trip to the Moon. I've seen it, and the movie Hugo, um, which is about Georges Méliès, who made a lot of those early silent films with techniques that were revolutionary when it came to visual effects. So those movies connect. There are also like three versions of A Star Is Born. I have seen two of them, including the most recent one and the Barbara Streisand one. And so there are three of those. Watching those in order to see how the story actually changes or stays the same. There are also sequels and trilogies and prequels, and there are legitimate movies that connect with each other. That might be a like a special version of talking about these. So the list does have an ability to put notes, attachments like posters. I can put the posters up. Um, and I think that would be a great way to sort of add on a little bit more to this, to visually see some of these. Um, so now that like I have this list, now I have to watch them. So there are many different ways that I watch the movies. There is an app called Just Watch, and it goes through the streaming, renting, and buying possibilities digital of some of these movies, and I can find it that way. I do have a lot of streaming apps. I also have access to libraries, so I have two libraries around me that have physical copies of movies as well as access to digital copies through those libraries. But like I said, some of these movies, like, you have to go to like the Library of Congress in order to watch them, and that might not be a possibility. Um, but I'm going to try my hardest to find these movies. I want to try to use the streaming services I already have, versus trying to find new ones. There is the streaming service of the Criterion Collection that has a lot of old movies on it. And if I find myself finding only a bunch of movies on the Criterion Collection, maybe I'll end up using that as a way to do it. But I also want to use what I already have and support the libraries that I have around. Maybe I'll add some more libraries into the future. This project's going to take a long time, so I'm not rushing into trying to find every single access to all these movies because they change all the time. I don't want to review every single movie because right now there's over 1,000 movies and I've probably not seen enough of them. But if there is interest in me discussing movies from just like an average viewer, maybe add in some things that I have found. I love doing a little bit of research, and I like connecting things to what we have now or how movies are linked together. There's some really interesting, cool aspects about movies. There's this book called Forbidden Hollywood, and it's about pre-code. It's about before the Hays Codes took into effect, and which limited what movies can be shown, like what can be shown in movies, like you know, sex, nudity, language that couldn't have been used, things like drugs, drinking. There were things that couldn't be shown because of the Hays Codes. And then when the Hays Codes got kind of turned around, and now we have our rating system. So the Hays Codes were kind of this extreme version of rating system. And then so there's a lot of before. So books like this would be kind of what I would go and adding on to it. So just being able to talk a little bit about, but I don't want to go into details. Like, it's fun. The more interest, maybe the more details, but I don't want to do all this work and have nobody care. So as part of that, hopefully I can start doing surveys about what I should watch, put together a list of maybe 5 spaghetti westerns, and then you decide on which one I review next, or watch and review, stuff like that. And hopefully I can start doing some live discussions and just turn on YouTube Live and just talk about movies that I've seen, movies that I want to see, maybe your experiences with watching movies, because I think everybody's experience is different and everybody gets something out of movies that are different. I want to see if I can do some like special events, such as going to my local movie theater, and oftentimes they'll have older movies that are playing for special nights, and see things like that. I think that would just add a little something to it. Take some photos, upload my ticket or something like that, just for people to see, as being a part of it. So, in conclusion, if you want to see this, if it's something that sounds interesting, just please respond to it, and then I can decide on how I want to go forward, where I want to do. Do I want this behind our little paywall? Do I want to make it just on YouTube? Do I want to try to do a little bit of TikTok, kind of revamping of it, or just how I want to do this, and if I want to do it myself or through the TheBinPodcast, or if this is just something I'm not going to do. It's all up to the audience, and maybe we'll see each other again.